of us were brought up in church our whole life, and God had to take drastic measures to teach us how significant and important church really is.
I was just into a new job on the river, and I was all in, just married to the job, doing nothing else but the job. And that's when that's pretty much when I came home to, I guess, the worst news, not news, but when I came to the worst moment in my life.
I woke up on January 16th, 2016. We had a 2.5-month-old daughter, and he was at work. I had a birth control device implanted the prior day. I woke up feeling like I had the flu. I've never even had the flu, but I know what the symptoms are. Almost couldn't pick my head up off the pillow. So family came and grabbed the three kids, and I just somehow went through the day. Tim gets home, and to avoid getting it, slept in another room, and I was in touch with my mom throughout the day. So fast forward to that night, and after a text conversation with my mom, she got a hold of my best friend down the street. It was almost midnight. She came banging on the door, woke him up, and that's when we really, at least from what I know, they started realizing how serious the situation was. This is all when God started to really grab hold of us. Tragedy struck.
I went to bed that night thinking that she was just having the flu or stomach flu. And unaware of anything that was really going on, because I'm in the other room. And it was about 11 o'clock that night when our friends came into the boys' room and said, "I think you need to bring Kassidy to the hospital." And of course, when I heard that, I got up immediately. She couldn't walk. Had to put her in a wheelchair, wheeled her in, brought her to the back. They took her immediately. And within just a few hours, she had to be intubated. And it wasn't really, I was scared, what was going on, because blood pressure is dropping consistently. And then the doctor, one of the doctors, who he is, I have no idea, but he pulls me into a room, sits me down, and has this look on his face where I knew it was really bad. He had the most concerned look on his face. Your wife is very, very, very sick. One of the TCU doctors that was on the floor that night told the family she wasn't going to make it through the night. When the doctor gave us the news that she was not going to make it through the night, I basically ran into the chapel, fell on my knees, cried and begged. And I literally stayed in there for 2 days. Literally slept on the pew, and I stayed in there for at least 2 days. God spoke to me. Like, I won't say it was audibly, but I heard it loud and clear that you don't have to worry anymore. Your wife's coming home. And I don't know if it was just the message or from hearing and feeling God actually speaking to me. No more fear, no more doubts. I was fine. And it actually struck some people as, why is he so calm? And I kept telling everyone, God told me she's coming home. She's going to make it. Everything will be fine. And sure enough, here we are.
I woke up in March. Had no idea. January to March was a blank. And it was a lot to process, obviously. There was never a question that I would turn to God. I had always had faith, but God grew my faith through this process. I wasn't angry. I wanted answers. And it took me a while to understand that that's not always how it works. So I began to process it. I saw a change in him whenever I woke up and knew that God was moving. And there wasn't a question. It wasn't if, when are we coming? He had already started to establish a pattern and was already plugging himself in here. And there was a good change for our family. He was already plugged, and we began to attend. I didn't even have prosthetics yet, and I came in a wheelchair. And we've been walking with God and plugged in here ever since. We did not know or understand church outside of a building. We didn't understand church has nothing to do with the structure initially. It's about the people that make up the church. And we learned quickly. I mean, God started with Tim, and I saw through Tim that it's about being a body. And I quickly realized we were essential parts of that body. And it's completely, God through grace has completely transformed our lives.
Once we were plugged in and we started on this path, like Kassidy said, we had hills and valleys. We had some pretty deep ones, and Satan was fighting to more than I've ever had happen to both of us, and to pull us out of here.
I needed answers, and I was searching. Tim and I spent hours upon hours with Pastor Shannon, with counseling and
Discipleship.
Yeah. I wanted to know why, and it took me a long time. I mean, months, which looking back, months might not seem like a long time, but every minute was excruciating at this point. I was in a tug of war with myself, because here I am knowing there's got to be a purpose. There is a purpose, without a doubt. Yet I'm physically suffering. So I couldn't reconcile that. And it took hours of discipleship and counseling for me to finally realize God doesn't allow suffering without a bigger purpose. I had ultimately two choices. That's how I saw it. And I've been asked several times, how do you go on? What keeps you going? And I saw two choices. I could lay in bed and allow the circumstances to consume me and be angry with God. Or I could allow God to use what happened in a powerful way. And it took the discipleship, and it took attending every service here at Grace for God to explain himself in various ways, and for me to understand that he is and was and will continue to use this in a powerful way. And we have 3 kids, and God showed us how important it is to take these gifts he's given us and to lead them in the right direction. We simply by omission didn't realize, and were allowing things of the world prior to this happening to lead our lives, therefore lead our children's lives. And God got my attention, and I saw the two choices, and I saw two paths: to allow anger and resentment and bitterness to just spread itself and eat us alive, or to walk the path that I saw him. He had already put Tim on the path, and all it was for me to follow. But it took Tim being here and seeing the love that was extended from the church family, from Grace, through prayer meetings while I was still unconscious. Extended love from complete strangers who just knew this child of God, is this mother of 3 is dying, and they wrapped him up. There was no choice. God just grabbed a hold of us. And since that time, although there's been hills and valleys, there has never been a doubt of where we belong, and that God will continue to use this. And every service we sit through, we are lucky and are blessed, I should say, for God to continue to reveal himself in miraculous ways.
Once he got my attention, and the more I listened and the more I heard, the more I wanted to be here. And that's when I realized this is where we need to be. This is the path we need to be on. That's what I'm trying to say. And we've had struggles between now and then. That it hasn't been perfect. And we have been absolutely to actually try to get us out of here. But no, I'm all in. We're all in. I'm keeping my family here at Grace Baptist until there is no more Grace Baptist, to be honest with you.
Until it calls us home.
Yeah, because I know this is where God wants us to be.